We are back on ABC24 this week to talk about a decision by a Shelby County chancellor or judge basically overruling a decision by the Shelby County Election Commission that said these 3 gun safety referendums, one having to do with handgun possession, another having to do with assault rifles, banning them, and another one establishing a red flag law for the city of Memphis, that those 3 issues can go on the ballot as questions. They would not become ordinances right off the bat. They're just questions. And the state, as we all know, got really upset about this. They threatened to pull away our sales tax revenue if this went through, saying that the city was blatantly superseding state law on those 3 topics. But the judge agreeing with Alan Wade, the city attorney, city council attorney, I should say, who said, quote, these are not charter amendments until they are actually approved. The proposal doesn't affect any gun regulation. In other words, as they like to say in legal terms, the issue is not ripe yet. Right. So I'll also let you take this one first. Yeah. Melanie Taylor Jefferson, do you think she made the right decision?
Absolutely, she made the right decision. There's no question about this. And Alan Wade, people underestimate just not just how competent he is, but how brilliant he is when it comes to municipal law. Mm-hmm. And he's forgotten a lot of stuff that these folks never knew. And I'm talking about the state Solicitor General and Attorney General's office. This is no different, and I've said it before, this is no different than the state of Tennessee legislature passing the trigger law for abortion, knowing that they could not go into effect until Roe versus Wade was overturned. And once Roe versus Wade was overturned, then the trigger law went into effect. I consider these 3 trigger laws in case somebody at the legislature gets some sense in their heads and decide to let municipalities decide their own fate where guns are concerned.
Well, fundamentally, I agree with you. It reminds me of the statement from the play Hamilton, and if you don't have something to stand for, you have nothing to fall for. And I think our stand has to be that we need some control on guns. 70% of this community, including Republicans, will vote for that. I guarantee it. Right. But once the vote is over, let's be realistic. It's meaningless. The state will not give us the gun controls that we want. We've made our stand, we've made our voice, and we take the risk of, they can't withhold money they've already given us, and they can't cut back on the state sales tax that we don't always get everything we deserve, and neither do other cities. They hold back on sales taxes. But they don't have to give us the extra money, like they got $360 million for the stadium, or they don't have to give us money that we desperately need for the zoo or for Regional 1. So we take a risk.
Well, you're outlining the position of Mayor Paul Young, who actually went against City Council.
That's right. And
saying this is a waste of time and could damage some of those other relationships.
I agree that it should be on the ballot because I want to vote again. I want to vote for gun control, but I agree with Paul Young that we're taking a big risk.
I disagree with that statement that Paul Young, I think he should have stuck with the team. I think when you have a police chief that has been bold enough to go to Nashville and say that we have too many guns, we followed it up with a legislative action that was fully within the boundaries because we did the research, we asked for the referendum. If you are part of the team and the problem is real, even if we are losing the game, don't walk off the field and leave the rest of us out there. Stand with the team and say, look, even though we may lose this battle, I agree with the principle. We need to measure the barometer. We need to take a barometer vote in this community to see how people feel about guns. And if they vote overwhelmingly to say we want to fight this, I think this is a good time to do the referendum. It's right here on a high turnout election. You're going to have a top of the ticket that matters, and this is going to drive people out. And when we get an overwhelming amount of people who say no guns, we do want storage, we do want judges to be able to take guns from people who don't have the right to use them, and we do want people to have a permit. That should send a signal to Nashville.
It's a cry for help.
It is what is. That's exactly what it is. And I think we need to be unified in our effort.
We have Republican representatives there, Mark White, John Gillespie. They have voted for some measures of gun control. They're laughed out of there. I'm telling you, I agree with you, Reverend. Right. Absolutely, we should take a stand, but I think we have to be political realists, just like Paul Young is. It's not going to accomplish anything.
Well, one last point on this, and I know we got to get through something else. I'm tired of the vindictiveness that I see at the legislature.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And until we address the vindictive nature of the legislative leaders, we're never going to get anything of any real substance.
And until
anyway.
we have some very good people that we send to the state legislature, until we send better ones with stronger voices, we will get nothing.
And their vindictiveness should not divide us.
But it is.
But it does.
We're on a team.
All right, real quick, Jim Sasser, a longtime U.S. Senator. We're not going to give nearly enough time as his career deserves. But really quick, if you guys could reflect on his career. He died this past week. He single-handedly made a difference at the zoo
Real
in Memphis.
quickly, as a political columnist at the Commercial Appeal, I covered Jim Sasser for many years. Couldn't have had a finer, nicer gentleman who led this state. He was majority leader of the U.S. Senate. He was highly respected in Washington, but he never forget where he came from. He was born in Memphis, and when he was defeated by Bill Frist, he became U.S. ambassador to China, and it was Jim Sasser who put the Memphis Zoo on the map. He brought the pandas here.
Reverend, you knew him well.
Heavy heart with Jim Sasser. Heavy week for me. Jim Sasser, James Earl Jones, and Frankie Beverly.
And Frankie Beverly.
So I don't leave Frankie Beverly, all right? I'll yield to you, Otis, but it's been a tough week.
It has been a tough week. I covered Jim Sasser in 1982 during an election that year. Just a fine gentleman, and he did a lot for Tennessee, especially Memphis.
He did. All right. My thanks to the three of you. That's all we have time for today, and my thanks to you at home as well.